It's 8:30 here at Site B on the 17th day of January 2025, 44 degrees and pretty today. I am running way behind. My sleep pattern is all off. Didn't fall asleep till like 2 o'clock last night and didn't wake up till about 10 minutes ago. Probably the wind or the cold or stress or Steve or seasons or whatever. So it's a wackadoodle day anyways. Let's get crazy and do both the crowdfunding news and the game shop news together in one instead of splitting them up. I know. That's dangerous. I know. That's dangerous territory, OGGM. Do you really want to go down that door? Because once you open it, you can't close it. All right, so we're going to do both today and see if it makes any difference whatsoever. I don't think it will, but you never know. All right, let's start with the crowdfunding news because that's always interesting and exciting. The following are all crowdfunding, Kickstarter type thingies that are coming to an end, but you still have a chance to back if you want. So we've got from Quasi-Real Publishing, Mythcraft, tabletop role-playing game enhanced, new loot reprint, and VTT support. This is a D20 system aiming for streamlined rules that can be customized. This campaign offers the second printing of the core rulebook of Mythcraft. Not only is the core rulebook, it's got VTT accessories and dice if you order the bigger one. 4 zines, each one being a different adventure. And other than that, it doesn't tell me anything about it. I assume it's a D20 fantasy thingy based upon the picture. It's got a robot, 4 dudes fighting over a glowing gem thing. And there's a tree behind them or something. Is a robot a friend or a foe? I don't know. Is this like some kind of ritual? I don't know. But yeah, there's a TV movie thingy on Amazon called Mythica, which is cheesy, but if you've never seen it, probably is some of the best D&D movies made in a long time that weren't D&D movies. Because, yeah, it's obvious that whoever made the Mythica movies was a fan. So I'm wondering if this has any connection to that. Probably not. Let's read the thingy and see if it gives us any more information other than we know it's a D20 fantasy game. Well, you can tell by the look they're trying to copy D&D right there. I mean, gee, wow. I got a picture of one of the books, and it's directly copying the look of D&D. So, yeah, it's probably a 5e clone. They get a t-shirt if you go all the way. One of their adventures are called Mountains of Madness. I don't suppose they spent the 5 seconds to check that there's already a Mountains of Madness. Right? It's a reprint of the original Mythcraft. New loot. Virtual tabletop support. Free crap. Buy-ins if you spend too much money. Action point system, talent point system that looks like it's from Diablo or Warcraft. I'm going to sneeze. Backgrounds, occupations, and professions. 5 whole sources of magic. Magic user, cleric, druid. It's 3 of the 5. Don't know what the 4th and 5th is. Yeah, something we've seen 1,000 times before, a 5e type clone, it looks like. From John, we have Dungeon, a dying MMO fantasy role-playing game. This is Dot Dungeon, $50. This is a tabletop role-playing game that tries to create the feel of imagining adventuring through a massive digital dungeon as it glitches and dies. Interesting. So it takes like the idea of you're one of the last people on World of Warcraft or something, and the system is being shut down. There's like a couple animes that are based upon that theme. So you're adventuring it for one last time. So not only are you playing yourself in the game, you're playing the person who's playing the game, or are you just playing the character in the MMO and you have no idea that you're a character in an MMO? If you missed the fantasy MMOs of yesteryear, this game may interest you. You're writing this like there are no more MMOs. There's new MMOs made every day. Warcraft is still going strong, and every time I see a video game thing, it's usually some type of wannabe new fantasy exploration multiplayer thing. So you're adventuring through the plot of an anime. Doesn't have enough information, but I'm assuming you're what I just said. You're either you play the player who's playing the character, and you play the character, or you're just playing the character, and either the character does or does not know that they're in an MMO. But the interesting thing is the world is glitching and falling apart around you. So I guess you'd want to do things like, okay, how can I take advantage of the glitch? Is it going to allow me to get to places I normally couldn't get? Is it going to be dangerous? I mean, that's what I would do, I guess. Then from Raorgen Games, we have Let's the Games Begin for X-Crawl. This is the X-Crawl Olympics. So this is the role-playing game where the entire world is a dungeon, and you are characters in this dungeon, and the adventures in the dungeon are being shown for recreation. It's like, like instead of football, you have dungeon crawling teams. Well, this is the Olympics for that world. So they got the best dungeon crawling teams from each part of the world. We got the dungeon crawling team from America, dungeon crawling team from Spain, dungeon crawling team from France, and they're all gathered together to go through the dungeon crawling Olympics. That's a fun idea. I don't know if it requires a $35 book, but it's a fun idea. We've got Dragon Sail Games, Epic 5e Supplement. What more do I need to tell you? It's $20 for the PDFs. It's a bunch of stuff to add to your 5e maps, buildings, mercenaries, just 5e goodness from Dragon Scale Games. From Stalagma Publishing, we have Xenoslave Dark Sci-Fi RPG compatible with Shadow Dark from Menagerie Press. Dark Sci-Fi RPG compatible with Shadow Dark. $10 gets you the PDF as well as the POD. Aliens have conquered, but then they fall. Now it's 50 years later, and people are trying to reclaim the world and reclaim the crashed technology before the aliens come back. And it's sort of a science fiction dungeon delve as you prepare to fight back. Set on Earth in the future, your humanity who is looking for technology to defend themselves, weird effects of how the world has changed, because it's like, what? Okay, I've always thought experimented this, what happens after the movie Independence Day? There's been this gigantic spaceship that's exploded in space. There's all this space junk and space diseases falling on the Earth. The planet is irrevocably affected. And then you have what happens after. So this kind of explores that idea. And then what happens when they come back? I guess you should probably watch Independence Day and Independence Day 2 if you're going to do this. From Penguin Band Collective, we have Runecaster, a narrative tabletop role-playing game of magical experimentation. This is $20. A 60-page game lets you play a novice mage delving into magic. Will they tame the power or be consumed by it? Using runes, and your characters combine various runes to create spell inspired by Lost Magic, Magic the Gathering, Mythica. So shout out to Mythica, weird. And some animes. You physically draw these runes as you play. As you draw more runes, you add them to your spell book. You create physical objects for your game. If you want fantasy RPG that offers another level of interaction, this book may interest you. So the whole thing is just you're in the lab and you're creating spells, and then you're risking things happening to your characters by randomly drawing from this table of runes. And sure, you can draw more and get more powerful stuff, but you almost but every time you do, okay, fine. I've done that. Now what? That's 20 minutes. Now I've got this wizard, and either I'm totally mess myself up, or I'm fine, but I've now created these really powerful spells. Now what? Is there more to the world? Do I get to go exploring? Is every character a wizard? Is there wizard wars? It's an interesting idea. I don't know if it's a complete and entire role-playing game. It could be an interesting addition to a role-playing game that's already added with that kind of weird, dungeon crawl classic randomness magic system, but I don't know if it's a standalone on its own role-play game, but it's only $20. And here we have a picture of a girl talking to a tree that's also a deer or mimic. It's a mimic. Girl talking to mimic. It's a mimic. Game Master's Guides to Fairies and Fairy Tales for 5e, $12. It's a book that gives you fairies and fairy tales for 5e. It's got art. It's got information on fairies and sprites and pixies and dryads and the usual stuff. Barlow's Guides to Fairy Kind, but with 5e stats. $12. Sure, if you want to add some extra pixies and fairies and stuff to your world, you can pick that up. And she's talking to a mimic, and yeah, it's a mimic, right? Because right by now, we just assume that anything that is in vaguely a thing that might also be a monster, it's a mimic, right? Like normally I just say everything is slime. Maybe the 2025 catchphrase should be everything is mimics. Your mom's a mimic. Oh, there we go. All right. So nothing sounds great. I mean, this one sounds like the best bargain for $12 for a field guide to just the different types of pixies and fairies across the world. This feels like a $10 addition to an existing game. I don't know if it has the wheels to be a stand on its own unless there's more to the world. I like this idea. It's $10. If you wanted to run a modern day or post-modern day using Shadowdark world where you explore the idea, okay, of what happens after the end of the movie Independence Day. Meh. Free stuff, extra stuff for 5e. These are all things you could find tables for online. I love this idea. Is it worth $35? I don't know, but I love the idea. For $50, it seems a little much without knowing more about the world. But again, if it's a world where you're not only you're playing yourself, but you're playing the character in the MMO. Or more interestingly, you're playing the MMO character and you don't know your character in the MMO until you start seeing the world glitch, which sounds like the plot for an anime. $150 5e thing. It's 5e. I mean, it's obviously they're trying to copy 5e, but it's got VTT support. All right, so that's all the crowdfunding projects you have a chance to back this week. Now, let's get crazy. We're also going to do friendly local game store news in one. What? Okay, we're back. 13 minutes in. Here's the tabletop role-playing game shop news. If you're lucky enough to have a friendly local comic book shop or a friendly local game shop where you live, please, now more than ever, it is important to support them in any way you can. As you know, we talked about this yesterday and the day before. Diamond Comics Alliance Games are declaring bankruptcy. Number one supporter of sending out comics and board games and card games and dice and figures and second run stuff and special orders, the lifeblood of every Tom, Dick, and Harry mom and pop brick and mortar game comic book shop in the United States, if not the entire planet. Diamond distributes all the way from teeny little, mom and pop stores all the way up to big guys. I mean, they owe Hasbro money, they owe Wizards of the Coast money, they owe Chaosium money. They are big, deep in the multi-million-dollar hole. So all the companies out there that depend upon receiving those weekly shipments of comic books or whatever, they are now on pins and needles wondering what's going to happen, if they're going to get their stuff on time. So more than ever, we need to support them. So let's take a look to see what's on the shelves this week at our tabletop role-playing game stores. But don't take my word for it. Please call ahead and see if they have it in stock. And if they don't, ask them very nicely to special order it while they can. Okay, from Troll Lord Games, we have Gary Gygax's The Hermit and Winter's Bite. Gary Gygax's The Hermit is part of the collection of stuff that Troll Lords Games got that Gygax wrote after he left TSR. This is the true legacy of Gary Gygax. 5th edition Wizards of the Coast is not. 5th edition Wizards of the Coast has nothing to do with Gygax. This, if you are a fan of Gygaxian level-based, as originally written by Gary Gygax when he was working for Troll Lord Games, this is it. So for $40, you get the Hermit, which back when I was still playing Castles and Crusades, I made the mistake of kickstarting this. I wish I had it because I have it, and it's like, wow, this is, yeah. Wasn't very impressed by it. But anyway, it's a 12th level adventure or high level adventure where you seek a lonely sage and stuff. Yeah. Winter's Bite is $11. It is a horror themed winter based adventure set in tunnels, Troll Lord Games, Castles and Crusades worlds where there's things going on in the snow, pockmarked skin, monsters hiding in the blizzard, stuff like that. Did I see something? Did I not see something? It's so cold. Do I go outside? Do I stay inside even though I'm hearing my neighbor call, slaughtered next door type of thing? Definitely horror movie plot right there. And then it's converted to Castles and Crusades. If you're looking for a level-based Gygaxian themed D20 that's not the, Saturday morning cartoon of 5e, you probably can't go wrong than Castles and Crusades. Plus, they give you players' handbooks and other books for free. At least 4 times a year, you see these big things where they're just like, here, have some free PDFs. And you can get the PDF of the Troll Lord Games players' handbooks for free. For free. And once upon a time, they sent me a free copy of that huge city book that I never used. But they sent it to me for free for no reason whatsoever. So gotta support them. Gotta love them. If you're looking for, and they have a whole bunch of other Gygax stuff, including they have apparently Castle Greyhawk, which they are slowly releasing, available to us through another name, the Castle Zaggy series. So yeah, if you're a fan of Gygaxian D20 level-based fantasy as it's meant to be played, this is it. It is not 5e. This is the true legacy of Gygax. From Necromancer Games, we have Feast of the Fork for D20. We have the 12 Days of Orcus, which was a Christmas-themed adventure for different D20 systems. Both are $24. So you can use these for any D20 ones. You can use it for Castles and Crusades. You could use it for 5e. You could use it for OSR. If it involves D20, you can use these. These are both combat, exploration, social encounters, low-level-ish, save the holidays with. So it's obviously got a bit of tongue-in-cheek humor in it, So the first one is called Feast of the Fork, where it's basically ale drinking, pie eating, and then somebody dies. So it's a Thanksgiving themed adventure without being a Thanksgiving themed adventure. It's just a big party, and then something happens. And then we have the 12 Days of Orcus, where it's, there's something going on and Christmassy, and there's corruption, and instead of it being Santa that's bringing presents, it's the Grinch. But the Grinch is is Orcus, the demon lord of terror and the undead. My favorite, all-time biggie. So yeah, Orcus ruins Christmas. You're a mean one, Mr. Orcus. And it's from Necromancer Games. I love their stuff. $25 for holiday themed, and you might be like, the holidays are over, but Easter is over. Shh, they don't know that. You can still play them. From High Dive Games, we have Random Acts of Violet for Dungeon Crawl Classics or any D20, but Dungeon Crawl Classics. There's a deadly purple plant. The adventurers have to go and explore where the deadly purple plant is, and then deal with it. So it's a 3-part adventure. We've got the Cavern of the Purple People Weavers. We've and weird plants and experiments and Sounds more like Mutant Crawl Classics than Dungeon Crawl Classics, but or maybe Sci-Fi Space, because it's also written for the RPG Peril on the Purple Planet setting. Anyways, it's goofy Dungeon Crawl Classics fun for $19. As you know, Dungeon Crawl Classics is my favorite of all the D20 retro clones. I even like it more than Shadow Dark. Sorry, Kelsey. And here's some more goofy Dungeon Crawl Classics, all based around sort of, a 1960s mutant plant movie type theme. And apparently a lot of things based around the color purple and purple puns, like the purple people eater. She's a one-eyed, one-horned flying purple people eater, one-eyed, one-horned flying purple people eater, one-eyed, one-horned flying pooper people eater, Da-ba-da-da-da-da-da. You've heard that song, right? One horn. From Gaming Horrors, we have Oh Happy Dagger. Oh Happy Dagger. Something, something, something. It's Romeo and Juliet. It's $11. This is another Dungeon Crawl classic taking place on the Purple Planet. It's Shakespearean themed horror. I've done Shakespearean themed horror in my D&D games. It does work. I mean, it's Shakespeare, the original amazing storyteller. You've got warring houses that fall in love with each other, Romeo and Juliet. You've got have to arrange the secret rendezvous between Romeo and Juliet, and then other weird stuff happens. And then so it's got a bunch of Shakespeare stuff. It's got a bunch of Purple Planet puns. It's got monsters. Hopefully the star-crossed lovers in the adventure don't end up like star-crossed lovers in Romeo and Juliet. Spoiler alert. They're both dead at the end of the play. Oh, Happy Dagger. From House Shark Games for Dungeon Crawl Classics, Perils of the Purple Planet. Wow, was there a Perils of the Purple Planet adventure design contest? And now we're seeing the results of it? I don't know. This is called River of Lies. It's $16. It's a third level adventure to design to use with the Purple Planet. You are caught in the rain, and then suddenly there's a huge flood, and then you're stuck in the flood, but then the flood starts flying. So now you're in an air-based flood, a aerial river, as we call it here in Southern California, because we can't just call it rain anymore. So you got to figure out, how am I going to get out of this flying river? There's monsters attacking me. Can I solve the mystery of the flying river before it stops flying and I plummet to my doom? Interesting. $16. 1, 2, 3, 4 things for the Purple Planet DCC RPG setting from 3 different game companies. Here's another one. 4 different game companies. 4 different things for the Purple Planet settings, all from different games. So either these are all just Goodman Games making fake companies because they're Goodman Games and they like to troll people occasionally and they've got that goofy DCC sense of humor, or there was a contest and these are the winners. Design an adventure for the Purple Planet setting. I don't know. So this one is called, so we got this one, River of Lies. We've got the Romeo and Juliet one. We've got, only three, sorry. Just Passing Through by DM Dave. It's 20 inns and taverns for any setting. And then Just Passing Through by DM Dave's with religious sites. So these are maps. $15 each for maps. If you're looking for a book of maps, 20 for 15, that's a pretty decent deal. That's, less than the dollar something each. I'm not going to do the math, but yeah, 20 maps for $15. Not bad. If you like maps, you can't draw like me, here you go. DM Dave has done all the work for you. Thank you, DM Dave. From Legendary Games, we have the Dragon Horde issue number 49 for 5th edition, $12. It's the monthly zine from Legendary Games, which contains random tables, new spells, new magic items, new monsters, puzzles, adventures, NPCs, a hodgepodge of new things every month for 5e. It's Dragon Magazine. It's $12. They do it every month. If you're just looking for a plethora of 5e or any D20 things that you can mine for adventures on that rainy day where you don't have any ideas what to run and your players show up going, run something. You've got a zine filled with stuff. Always support zines. $12 for that. That looks fun. $20 and $15 each for 20 maps. How can you not? 1, 2, 3, 4 adventures for DCC Purple Planet campaign setting. They all sound goofy, wonderful. I love DCC, so it's a match made in heaven. High Dive Games, Gaming Horrors, and House Shark Games. And then from Necromancer Games, featuring my favorite Orcus, we've got 2 adventures. And then we've got this Hermit thing, which we've already talked about, which I kickstarted, and now I have, and I wish I didn't. I mean, not that it's bad. It's just $40 for an adventure that was like, I mean, it doesn't... Well, not for me. Not for me. My last Castles and Crusades campaign left a really bad taste in my mouth, and I really didn't want to... Like, what am I going to do with this Gygax shit? I'm never going to run it. I'm never going to play it. Why did I back it? Because I was like, well, you sent me this thing for free, so I got to back the next thing you do. And it was this. So, but still, if you are still looking for Gary Gygax D20 level-based fantasy, which is not 2025 Dungeons and Dragons, it's this. It's this. I don't care what anybody else says. This is Gygax's legacy. Gygax has said so. Well, his kids have said so, and Gary did. Gary said, back in the days when he was still alive, he said this is what he wanted Advanced Dungeons and Dragons to be had he actually gotten a chance to write it. So there we go. These are all the things that are available at your friendly local game store, supposedly, but don't take my word for it. Call ahead and ask if they have it in stock, please. Again, take a second out of your day to support your friendly local game store. Buy a dice, buy a figure, buy a board game, buy a magic card, buy a comic book, buy a snack if they sell snacks. We need every penny and dime that you're going to put into the friendly local game stores to help keep them open, because they're going to go through a huge, huge issue now that Diamond and Alliance have declared bankruptcy and owe millions of dollars to different publishers and stuff like that. Thankfully, the Ripperverse self-publishes for their own distribution, so the Soska Sisters Ripperverse comic books will still be out there. Shout out to the Soska Sisters. Take care, all. You can tell how tired I am. I am just flubbing my words. Somebody's texting me. Who's texting me? Alex from the Stepping Stones group. I don't know who that is. It's probably a scam. Till next time, I'm the OG GM. I don't know if we'll have anything else to talk about today, but if we do, I'll see you later today. If not, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Stay safe out there and have a great weekend. Now I'm going to go back to bed. See ya.
Roll the dice and ride the wave. Quest and dragons, the news we crave. Under neon lights we take a stand. Knights and wizards across the land.